Now this is a beast. Today we'll review the Evo-X2. We'll put it through some benchmarks, try out some productivity tools, as well as test a bunch of games in 4K. And of course a side menu of Batocera Linux, high-end emulation, we'll tear the whole thing down and compare it to its younger brother. Welcome to Team Pandori.
Subscribble.
Oh my. What a large package. And apparently it's a mini PC from GMKtec. This time the Evo-X2 128 SKU. No cache has exchanged hands, and we'll keep this as unbiased as possible. Inside we have this piece of card with a multilingual instruction manual, and to be fair, this only covers the basics. If you want to see guides, check their YouTube channel. There's a HDMI cable, a power lead, this will be for the country you live in, and this will be connected straight up to this power brick. Let's have a look. That's a hunky. It's yay big, and it outputs at 19.5 volts, 11.8 amps, at a maximum of 230.1 watts? This guy's a bit of a monster. Talking about monsters, here is the mini PC. It is the largest mini PC we've had on this channel, and the first time we've seen this sticker, this Max Plus, and the warranty card. Boy! Let's take a closer look around the mini PC. This uses a combination of metal and plastic, and is stacked to aid in cooling. As you can see the air holes all around here. And as always, GMKtec have decided to keep their design minimalistic and non-showy, suitable for any office. The triangular button on the side here does not change the fan speed, but the colour of the internal fan. On the front we have the power switch. No laughing, but we got a P mode. With this we can change TDP on the fly. There's an SD card slot, USB 4, a set of USB 3.2 Gen 2s, and a combo audio jack. Turning this around now, this is the bottom. In the middle we have the information of the system, as well as two rubber rails that act as feet. On the back is where all the action is. Starting from the right we have a couple of USB 2.0s, HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4, USB 4, and another USB 3.2 Gen 2. Under this large yellow sticker is the obvious, it's definitely a LAN port, and it translates to... There it is. Thankfully we have an audio jack on the back, which is a great addition. There's DC input for power. Along the bottom we can see the exhaust for the heatsink, and how could we forget?
Kensington?
That's right, the Kensington lock. This is the view from above. And then the side. This thing is super holy. Taking a look at the specs now, this thing is definitely a monster. With 16 cores that go all the way up to 5.1 GHz, and a GPU that has over double compute units compared to the Evo-X1, this thing is no slouch. It uses 128GB of LPDDR5X memory, which is super quick, but as it uses this memory, it's soldered to the board, so it cannot be upgraded in the future. You can get the 64GB 1T version on Amazon, currently at 25% off at $1,499, and the 128 2T version we have here is going just shy of $2,000. Amazon usually have great sales on, so prices will vary, but if you're in a location that is not covered, checking out the GMKtec website, they usually cover worldwide postage. If you'd like to help out our channel, please use our affiliate links down below. It would help us a lot at no additional cost to yourself. It's about time for the size comparison. The GMKtec Evo-X2 is very large. If you compare it to the X1, it's almost 4 times as big. Much larger than the K11, this one had the colourful fan. Here's the B-Link EQ13. Here's a unicorn. This one can hold your smartphone. One larger than average sized banana. A dirty old toothbrush. As you can see, it's just as long. And who could forget? A Typhoon tea bag. The GMKtec Evo-X2 is 1, 2, 3, 4. The Evo-X2 is 9 tea bags big. When comparing just to the Evo-X1, you can see this thing means business. It's like David and Goliath. Or maybe a father and son. On the first boot, we're greeted to the Windows setup screen. This is not a difficult process. We simply need to tell the computer what language to use, the region where we live, which keyboard to use, and things like that. This is not a lengthy process, so it'll only take 1 or 2 minutes at a time. We're not obliged to go online at all, which is great to see, and it boots straight up. Checking the specs here, they check out. And if we look at the Windows activation page, it says can't connect. Windows will activate as soon as we go online, but before we do that, let's do a quick security check for virus and malware. We ran full scans with Windows Defender, Malwarebytes, as well as Avast. They gave us all the OK, so our system came squeaky clean. We then connected to our Wi-Fi, installed the latest Adrenaline drivers, and then updated Windows. And as it takes a bit of time, let's play with these buttons. This fan button here changes the colours inside, and this button on front adjusts the TDP. We actually don't need to go in the BIOS at all, just push this button and it does it on the fly. The quiet profile is set to 45 watts, balance is up to 75, and performance is at a crazy 140. We'll leave it at balance for the time being, but we feel that this processor should have a 55 watt value to match AMD's spec sheet. So what can you do with this PC? Well, simple things like Office, online shopping, or even 4K video streaming. This computer can do it without a sweat, and we should really be looking at productivity. For example, if you wanted to use it as a workstation for audio, having 16 cores with super fast memory will make light work when using VSDIs. If you intend on using it for 2D art, the Evo-X2 is incredibly overpowered and would feel more at home if using it for 3D art, for example, projects in Blender. Or maybe editing 4K movies in DaVinci Resolve. It won't be using the Intel QuickSync, but as this computer is incredibly powerful, I won't be missing that feature anytime soon. One great addition to this PC is the GMKtec AI tool. I mean, rather than spend hours setting up Ryzen AI, it's all here, ready to go. Well, just tappa, translate English to German in 5 seconds. In the model store we can select the cloud models, but there's also local models that run straight off this computer. Very simple to install, but if you want to use DeepSeek 70B, you'll need the 128GB SKU. Unsure if you know of Qwen, but it's similar to ChatGPT. We had a lot of fun trying to convince it that it was running locally, even when we were completely offline. The 14B model was a bit of a potato, but you could tell that the 30B model had a bit of a clue. Either way, this is incredibly fun, especially as there's no stress regarding AI installation. Let's move on to the benchmarks. Our 2TB NVMe storage is incredibly quick, and it's the fastest NVMe we've seen bundled in any mini PC. While the CPU speeds tower over the rest of the competition, the GPU is where we see most gains, clearly dominating the others. It also leads in the AI benchmark, getting over double the performance of any of the others. With 16 cores clocked up to 5.1 GHz, there's no doubt it'll lead in Cinebench. But if you move on to TimeSpy, it focuses on games and single-core performance, and this shows another picture of where the CPU can be beat. But if you remember that you need a balance of both the CPU and GPU to play games well, this is top dog. Here's a few more benches from 3D Mark. And Blender. Don't know if you compare these, but yeah, there you go. We tested out the Wi-Fi strength, and it hit 75% on the 5 GHz band. We had no issues with drops from either internet connection or Bluetooth, so without any further ado, let's connect this controller up and play some games. Starting off the games test, here's Streets of Rage 4 in 4K, and we're at a capped 60 FPS. Nice. Other games like Streets of Fury X will also have no issues. And the most demanding quote-unquote 2D title we found was Ori and the Will of the Wisps. But even at 4K with graphics set to high, we can still have a very good time. Moving on to some esports titles, here's Dota 2, 4K, best looking.
Let no sound escape.
And a favourite in zero build mode, Fortnite. We're starting off at 1080p far and high settings, and as you can see, this is running really well. And here's the same settings in 1440p. And it's even playable at 4K. Next up is Counter-Strike 2, 4K high settings. And if you want higher FPS, 1080p low. Moving on to the AAAs, here's Helldivers 2. And at 1440p balanced, medium graphic settings, an average of 80 FPS is pretty decent. Tekken 8 at 4K medium settings provides full speed. The new Tony Hawk's 3 and 4 remake struggles a little in 4K, but if we lower resolution to 1440p, we're good to go. And next up, Cyberpunk 2077. At 4K medium settings, it's incredible to see the frame rate so high on a mini PC in such a demanding game. Changing to low, we can hit above the 60 FPS sweet spot. And if we use the frame gen, we can go well beyond that, albeit pretty blurry. Now a title that keeps getting requested, Indiana Jones.
You took quite the thrashing, Indiana.
I'm alright. Why do you carry small?
While this game is playable at 4K, we need to mess with graphic settings in order to hit sweet 60, or we could alternatively smash it down to 1440p. There you go, Indy. Let's take a look at the BIOS. We have the power mode selection, frame buffer size, as well as plenty of options to mess around with. But the one letdown, the smart fan settings. While we could tweak the manual static speed, there was no way to customize the fan curves, which left us wanting a bit more control. We do, however, have Secure Boot for Valorant, and we can also start up other operating systems, such as Batocera Linux, our favourite emulation frontend. As this chipset is very new, we needed Batocera 41 installed, and it worked flawlessly. We can connect our controller to Bluetooth, and the Wi-Fi worked fine. From here we can play classic games from our childhood, like Qwen, Robocop, In the Hunt, Tekken 3, Killer Instinct 2, and Darius Burst at a 4x upscale. If you want high-end emulation, this system has you covered. Here's PlayStation 3 at 1080p. Let's take a look at the temps and noise. We're in quiet mode, and at idle, it is silent. And it's pulling 9 watts from the wall. If we give it a game to play with, around 46 degrees, and things get noticeably louder. And it pulls 88 watts from the wall. So we can push this button to raise TDP, so it now should be set to 75. And while more power is allocated, we get less frames, more heat, and louder noise. And now it's using 131 watts. If we push the P mode again, we'll get performance mode, but as we mentioned earlier, 140 watts is extreme for this chipset. We ran it through a stress test and the CPU hit around 98 degrees, but as there are 3 fans in the system, it gets very noisy. And it pulls this much. So let's open this up. There are no visible screws, but if you pull these back, they're hidden underneath. And after removing these 4 screws, we can pull off the top. And that's one nice fan, I like that. I wish every mini PC had one of these babies, instead of them tiny screamers. If you look down the side, we can see the Wi-Fi module. If you want to change that out, you can. And there's also 2 slots for the NVMe. The one inside already has a heatsink, but if you want to add one more, we can easily do so. Just remove the screw, get a PCIe NVMe. This one's the Oracle we had in the other video, and it's super fast. Just pop it in and screw it down, and we're done. If you want to get in further, you need to remove these two screws. Then we can take off this panel. We can see straight away we got the two blower fans. In order to get to our processor, we'll need to remove these. So let's unplug the fans. Remove 6 screws. Then there's tape. And out you come. And there are 6 screws that hold the heatsink to the board. 4 of those keep it tight against the CPU. So if you want to replace any thermal paste or pads, you have full access. Saying that, we repasted with some MX6, but there's not much difference in regards to temps. So if you want to quieten this computer a little, we'll need to wait for a BIOS update that allows us to control fan slopes. I think it's about time for the pros and the cons. The GMKtec Evo-X2 is an incredibly powerful computer, and while it doesn't use a discrete GPU, it can perform above and beyond. It has great AI capabilities, and the easy-to-use software included is a joy to use. It uses ultra-quick NVMe, Wi-Fi 7, and as long as you're not stress testing at 140 watts TDP, the CPU stays cool at below 70 degrees. Unfortunately, even if GMKtec are selling their 395 solutions cheaper than the competition, it's still quite pricey. And maybe if we have more control over fan speed curves and TDP values per mode, we'll be able to get this very quiet. So is the GMKtec Evo-X2 a decent PC? Yes, we can easily recommend it. The CPU speeds far surpass my main rig, the 3950X, and the GPU scores are not far behind. As for which to get between the Evo-X1 and X2, it really depends on your needs. But an easy way to think about it is the Evo-X1 for 1080p gaming, and the X2 for 4K and AI. Links are down below if you want to help out the channel, and summary.
Largest mini PC box, but it packs a beast. Oh, 16 cores cooking like a digital feast. Ryzen Max, yeah, it's running the show. Playing AAA games in 4K. Whoa! Fortnite sniped, Indy Jones whipped, Counter-Strike 2, my hand is slipped off the joystick. My wrist crying in shame, can't keep up the pace. This mini PC just won the race. 2 blowers blowing. When stressed it's loud, but I'll keep going. Pew, pew, pew. 2 blowers blowing.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider joining our Patreon. Or how about checking another one? This has been Immy Chicken of Team Pandori, and I'll catch you on the next one. Ta-ra.
I can do 4K all night long, baby. Give me a kiss.